and kind to me. So we're going to cover three things. The first thing we're going to cover is trafficking requires movement. Okay, trafficking does not require movement. Most people think that you have to scoop someone up from far, far away or another state and bring them to another place. That's not the truth. Trafficking does not require movement. Human trafficking is the use of force, fraud, or coercion to force someone to do something they would not normally do. Well, most people do not want to be enslaved or in debt to another human being, especially if it involves sex. And that's what we're out to debunk, is these myths that trafficking requires movement, because it doesn't. Children can be trafficked right out of school. Our film, Trapped in the Trade, actually covers that there are children intentionally recruiting other children in school for this. The pimps will come pick them up after school's over and drop them off at home in time for dinner, or maybe slightly after. And because we all know teenagers can be a little angsty sometimes, predators know this too, and they take advantage of it because they use threats and manipulation to force our children to do things they would never want to do. Yay, Renata's here, yay. Okay, good. All right. So that's the other thing, is it can happen at the mall. It can happen at Starbucks. It can happen anywhere where kids are. So it does not require movement. Okay. So that's myth number one. Trafficking requires movement. It doesn't. Myth number two, trafficking is the same as smuggling. It's not. Human trafficking involves force, fraud, or coercion. Child exploitation is actually exploiting a child mostly for commercial sex, but you can also do it for labor. Smuggling is literally smuggling people across a border illegally. Trafficking happens illegally too, separate and distinct. If I'm bringing people over to be farm workers, right, and maybe they have an agreement with an agriculture company, and they're being smuggled across a border illegally. However, that agriculture environment, whomever pays them and takes care of them, that's separate and distinct from trafficking, okay? So trafficking does not require movement. Trafficking is not the same as smuggling. The third thing we're going to cover is that people think money has to exchange hands. So if I pay to have sex with someone, that's trafficking. No. Money does not have to exchange hands. Hey, Jojo, money does not have to exchange hands for someone to be considered trafficked. So here's the deal. There's approximately 1.2 million children a year that run away. And the FBI, when they help recover these children, they've actually done interviews. Over 50% of them said that they exchange sex for transportation, for lodging, and for food. That's trafficking, because a child was coerced into having sex to move them from point A to point B, from this town to that town, or to provide shelter, or to provide protection, or whatever that is. That's the piece that people, that's why it's a myth, that you only exchange money. I pay them to do something. These kids are forced to have sex under duress. They make no money. The pimps get all the money. The traffickers get all the money. So people paint this glamorous picture of what, trafficking is, or the pimp life is. It's not. Every time we go out and we talk to kids, we show them the real pictures. Yeah, thank you, Renata. Personal items, purses, shoes, cell phones. Renata and I were working with a group of youth, and when we talked about the grooming and recruitment of children, and we also, every time we talk to the youth, we've educated over 13,000 kids in the past 3 years. Every time we go out and we talk to youth, we say, look, if something bubbles up for you and you want to talk about it, you come talk to us. All right. You make sure you have a conversation with us, because we don't want them, we want to make sure they're okay. And we were talking about grooming and recruitment, how they'll take them out to dinner. They'll buy them clothes, or they'll buy them, items, hair items, shampoo, whatever it is they say they need. And it's really creating this trauma bond. And then what happens is over time, they build this relationship. We were showing our film Trapped in the Trade to a group of girls. And when we were talking about recruitment and grooming and buying things, this one little girl sat straight up and she goes, Miss Jan, I got to talk to you. And so we went out and we had a conversation with her. And what had happened, luckily she had broken off the relationship, but an older gentleman started taking her out to dinner, took her to places to buy makeup, took her to places to buy clothes, get her nails done. And he was grooming her specifically to use her and sell her for trafficking. So money doesn't necessarily need to exchange hands for someone to be considered being trafficked. Okay, it's almost 8:30. I'm trying to keep these really short so you can have powerful conversations with your kids. This is designed for parents that you've got this frontline knowledge. And we're debunking myths every night this week. And then I'll do a recap Saturday morning. And then we're going to do again round number 2 next week. We're debunking more myths. We came up with over 30 myths, and I bet there's probably more. So I want to make sure you've got the human trafficking hotline number and you put that number in your phone. It's 888-3737-888. And you can use it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's all anonymous. You see something that you think might be trafficking, you interrupt it. The last thing I want to leave you with is any app that has a chat feature can put your child at risk. Our kids are spending more and more time online. I was actually talking to a principal yesterday. Principal Jordan Rodriguez is going to be on with me tomorrow night. We're going to debunk 3 more myths. And he said, so you use Zoom? I said, yeah. And he said that the school district that he works in won't use Zoom because people have, if you send your Zoom link out, people can actually hack into it and start talking to you. And I was like, wow. I know I've got high privacy levels, but any app that has a chat feature exposes your child. And so you want to share with them some of these myths and be able to have this kind of conversation with them. You can say, hey, do you know the difference between trafficking and smuggling? And if they don't, great, that's something you can look up. So thanks for being with me tonight. This is our first round. We'll get better, I promise, over time because I'll have someone to talk to. And I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. I think I'm going to do the lives on my personal page versus my Paving the Way page because it's easier to find. So y'all have a great night. Be safe. Wash your hands. Stay inside. I love y'all. We'll talk to you later. Bye.